There's a lot of difference between like me and the rest of the AD carries. If I get ahead, I stay ahead.
On a smoothie right away and nothing you can do. First blood for Freeze, Renegades.
I make a lot of pressure on the map.
And Freeze from downtown lands the spear.
I don't want to be harsh to Doublelift, but he's just past his prime.
That's Doublelift and Yellow down. They are going for Doublelift. Double again! Doublelift does get caught this time.
He used to be way better than he is right now.
Welcome everyone to week 4 of the 2016 North American League Championship Series. We're coming to you live with another action-packed day of League of Legends from the LCS Battle Arena. Now the fans are hyped up here in sunny California and looking forward to cheering on their favorite teams, which includes, of course, the Immortals, who you see here arriving at the studio and rolling deep. They'll be playing to keep their undefeated run alive as they take on Liquid. Here they are in the huddle and looking like a united front. A lot of eyes will be fixed on that first matchup to see if Liquid are the team to bring Immortals back down to earth. Hello everyone, I'm James Dash Patterson. Happy Chinese New Year. And helping me discuss the day ahead of us, it's Aiden Zyrene Moon and Joshua Jett Leesman. Gentlemen, we're almost there. We're almost to that midway point of the split. We've got some big matchups that start off the day. We've got both Immortals and against Liquid, as well as C9 versus Energy. So a lot of shuffling could happen near the top of the table. Maybe we see the first loss handed to Immortals.
There are a number of games today with teams that are very close to each other in the standings. So as they position towards the end of the first split, we're going to get hopefully a better idea of where all these teams stand.
Exactly. Well, let's take a look at those standings, get a sense of the state of the league after yesterday's games. Ahead of the pack is Immortals with 7 straight wins. Following in second place is Energy Esports with the bulk of the LCS, 1 win behind them, tied for third. At the bottom of the standings, we have Team Dignitas 1 win ahead of 9th place teams Echo Fox and Renegades. Now today we're kicking off the action with Immortals taking on Team Liquid, followed by Cloud9 versus Energy Esports. Then Renegades will square off against TSM before Team Dignitas battles Echo Fox to cap off today's broadcast. Now in the past we've seen a lot of parity among teams, but the 2016 season has shown us there is a clear skill floor and a clear skill ceiling. And if we carry that analogy further, well then Immortals, they aren't even in the room, they're on the roof.
Yeah, we have some parity with like 5 teams in the middle. We have Immortals way above everybody else. We knew coming into this week, even if they lost both games, they'd still be in first place.
Yeah, and if they lose this week and the rest of next week, they're still in first place, or at least tied for it. Immortals, they've just been playing a really, really great season so far, coming out with all of these stars, and seriously, they deserve to be on top of the way they've been playing.
Yeah, I have to say, I've just loved the ingenuity of the team comps too, the whole PvE, like MMO party, raiding party.
Heal the giant Cho'Gath.
They've got the Cho'Gath.
Heal the healer that's healing Cho'Gath.
I hate that so
and
much.
then they've got 2 healers. It's like the ideal raiding party.
Straka's like, I'm healing you and losing HP, and he's like, no, I got you. You got a healer for your healer.
It's just so frustrating to deal with. But we can agree that Immortals, they're kind of in a tier all of their own. 7-0, undefeated, no one handed them a loss yet. But then as you move one step down further in the ladder, things start to get a little bit muddy. But who, if we had to pick the teams most likely to hand a loss over to Immortals, what are the teams we're looking at?
I think the team they're going to play today, Liquid. Because I think Liquid has a great kind of, they're coming into their own. They have rookie shot callers, and their problem has been closing games out, not really getting advantages in them, because they have such an early aggressive jungler with Dardoch, and Piglet is having a great season altogether, right? He's having amazing performances. It's just the closing of the games and the shot calling. So as the season progresses, maybe the first time today, maybe they'll hand them a loss, or maybe the second time they play them. But I think Liquid is the one that's looking at second place, possibly dethroning them later in the season.
Liquid with an opportunity. What about you, Jet?
I think Liquid could show a little bit, has shown too much inconsistency when we look at the whole 4-week span. Their quality win to me was over Energy in week 3, but aside from that, we see 3 losses, a really hard win against Echo Fox, a really difficult win against Team Impulse, and then a strong win against Team Dignitas yesterday. So I still want to wait and see them kind of prove themselves. For me, I think the most likely team is actually Energy. They didn't take down Immortals, but they played a very close game against them, and GBM has been the best mid laner in North America so far this split, hard carrying them, and I do feel like Alltech will step up to kind of do more damage. He's just been super passive in the back of fights.
Right.
And when they can get him enabled, I feel like there's a lot of carry potential on that team.
Yeah, that's the challenge with Energy, is because they seem one-dimensional to me. I feel like they wait until mid-game and then they play through GBM because Moon isn't having the type of early game pressure to even gank that mid lane and make things happen. So I think Moon and Conquan are kind of like little anchors for that team right now that are weighing them down a bit. But if they step up and they are able to actually unlock GBM and Impact and play to those guys as long, and Altec, like they have 3 carries on that team potentially, but I feel like they're just pigeonholing themselves.
The Altec point is a good one just because we had those damage statistics from yesterday. GBM at 32K, Altec on
It
Corki
has been a
only
one-dimensional
hitting about
show.
7.
Like, to be
17K.
fair, the weakness is well stated by Zyrene there. It's GBM that's gotten them to 5-2. But I think the potential is there for the rest of the team to take over more.
Exactly. I think another team that a lot of people would want to point to would be TSM. Again, that star-studded roster that's still struggling to find themselves, though. What are our feelings on this team and where they might fall on that tier list?
The faith is dwindling for TSM because you want to give them time to adapt and kind of figure out each other's play style. But at a certain point, you start worrying if it's actually going to be able to come together. They had an ugly win against Echo Fox yesterday, and they just haven't looked like a star-studded team. The stars just aren't all playing together.
Yeah, they have confidence issues right now with each other. And at that point, I think that the coaching staff really needs to be the ones to unite this team and get them all on the same page and start giving them direction. Because TSM right now, you said they have all these stars. Well, they look like a team of superstars, not a superstar team. And there's a big difference there with this because they don't look like they're able to compete at that top level, especially with the way they're performing against Echo Fox. So TSM, I think that with time, when I talk to Immortals players, they say full power TSM could potentially beat them, and that's what they're afraid of because TSM gave them their longest game of the season so far,
Very
38
true.
minutes.
It was their closest game.
And it was a botched lane swap by TSM at the start. So they pretty much had that game, and then the Baron fiasco happened, and that's what
We all remember all the players on TSM having huge success in other teams.
Right.
So like that's where all these teams are seeing the potential, and they lane against Bjergsen or Double Lift, and they see the CS advantage and they see the mechanics. But until they can put it together, I'm not willing to say that they will put it together.
Right, absolutely. Understood. If we fill out that roster for playoff contending teams, we're looking at the likes of Cloud9, CLG, Team Impulse. Any one of those 3 seem like the front runner, or maybe someone who's sitting on the bubble that has to step it up in order to squeak through at the end of the season?
To me, it's a whole bunch of inconsistency. I feel like Team Impulse would be the bottom of that crew, and Cloud9, they had their best game yet yesterday, and CLG looked a little bit too fast against Immortals. So both those guys have some work to do.
Yeah, Cloud9 seem like they're getting it a little bit together. TIP, we've only seen 1 game from the full roster, though. So just like you with TSM, I don't know if I'm willing to even say anything about TIP just yet.
There's still some more information to get from them. Now, if we're to break these teams down a bit further, we have some clear standout performers scattered throughout the ranks, and I want to start with that man in the mid lane, GBM.
Yeah, I was just talking about him, but highest damage per minute for mid lane, that's a really high number, 789.8, and that's been on a variety of champions. It's not like he's just playing late game AP Ezreal and doing a whole bunch of damage. He played LeBlanc yesterday and did a huge amount of damage overall for the team on an assassin.
LeBlanc into Lissandra, Black Shield Morgana. I mean, it definitely was a tall order for him in this game.
He really transitioned well to North American LCS for sure.
Yeah, he was on an upward trend by the regionals as well in LCK, having the most damage per gold there at the end of the season. Now, I want to talk about a different mid laner though, for Cloud9, Jensen. This is a guy who came in last year and he was struggling to CS on stage. Now he's become an offensive playmaker for Cloud9, and it looks like they're emboldening him. They're making sure that he's actually able to make these plays, and he's synergizing with Rush now. He's synergizing with High, and his confidence seems on another level, and he just looks like a completely different player. Even with a name change, I mean, he has a different name above his head, but he is a different player now in the LCS.
He's meeting the expectations that were set for him over a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely stepped up in a huge way. Also, I just love this. It was pointed out on Reddit, but in that clip, you see a really great example of the Athene's passive, proccing 3 times on the triple kill. He goes from literally 0 mana to full in one fight. Regardless, time to move on to our next player, and that's Piglet of Team Liquid.
Yeah, we talked about just now Jensen reaching the expectations that were set for him. Piglet is actually doing that now. He had a bit of a rough road throughout on Team Liquid. Even the beginning of the season looked rough, but not because Piglet was playing poorly. He has been knocking it out of the park all split, and a lot of people are saying he's doing this by playing passively because he has a lot of assists, not many kills. Highest damage for an AD carry doesn't come from playing passive. It comes from playing smart and calculated, and that's what Piglet's done.
He's getting in the maximum amount of damage per fight that he possibly can. He part of that success that the team has found was bringing in newbie Dardoch, and he's the next person that I want to take a look at.
Dardoch, in my opinion, is one of the top 2 best junglers right now, pretty much no question. I think that he leads, I think that he just leads this team to a new identity now. They can play through their jungler and play through multiple lanes, and he actually has the most kills for a jungler right now. He also has the highest damage per minute for a jungler, and also on top of all of this, even though Piglet's doing so much damage.
Taking all the kills from Piglet.
I know, but like, you see the damage that Piglet's doing, but despite that, Dardoch is still doing the second most damage share for a jungler in the league. So he is incredibly aggressive. He has 87% first blood participation, and he has just changed the face of this team, and Liquid fans are really happy that he's coming in.
Yeah, you'd like to have 2 standout performers on your team in Team Liquid, but how about 5?
Yeah.
Immortals. Because we really couldn't, when you look at this team, you can't just pull one out of the pack and say he's the standout.
It's hard to discern because you don't want to disparage any of these players. Obviously, Huni and Reignover carried that huge regular season winning streak over from the European LCS, but it's not like they have been single-handedly carrying this team to an undefeated record. Pobelth has played 7 different champions, Wild Turtle looks like his old self, and Adrian is proving he's a top support.
Yeah, and I think that this also extends past the players to the coaches and the coaching staff. I think they've united the players very quickly. They've gotten rid of bad habits, Huni tilting, Wild Turtle being told not to flash in, and also these other things on top of it where they have this mental fortitude that they can, people are talking about like they should lose so that they can feel what it's like to lose and bounce back.
No,
but
what? That sounds awful.
I know.
That's awful advice.
But they already have that as a team. They just bring each other up. I mean, you lose all the time in scrims, right? So like they're able to get back in it, get back on stage, and they're able to make this happen, and they're consistent. But 90% of the coach's job is done off stage. But the 10% we're seeing, the drafts are really good. They look like they have a clear win condition, and then the players are able to take it from there. Yeah,
smiles win games. That's what I always say. But now that we've highlighted some of our standout performers in the league, we want you to let us know who we missed. Send your tweets to @LolEsports to answer our media question of the day. Who is your unsung hero in the North American LCS and why? Let us know who you think is flying under the radar, and we'll read some of your responses later in the show. That's going to lead us to turning our attention to the game of the day. Our first one here, where we have 2 of the hottest teams in the LCS going head-to-head with Immortals versus Liquid. Now, the new team on the block have yet to show any major flaws in their gameplay, and they continue to dominate the competition.
And this game will show us if there is a team on Immortals level this half of the season, because they only have to play Liquid and Team Dignitas in the latter half, and Team Liquid looked really well in the last 4 games of winning.
Yeah, so one of these teams is going to have to walk away with 1 extra loss now, but maybe the first one for Immortals, and it might stop Liquid's streak.
1 streak will be broke.
But honestly, I think that this is going to be a great experience for both teams to play against each other on stage. I think that these are the 2 teams that are jockeying for that first and second position here in the league based on their recent performances.
I want to talk about a matchup here in this game that I think a lot of eyes will be pointed towards. We've got those 80 carries. Wild Turtle, Jat, you mentioned he's looked to return to form, his old form, and then Piglet finally hitting that mark, what we would have expected from him when he initially came over to the league.
And Wild Turtle has been playing so aggressively. I don't really remember him flashing backwards or dashing backwards. It's always been forward because he's always in a position to succeed, but he's more willing to go for that than pretty much any other 80 carry. And it has been working flawlessly for them. Piglet might be an 80 carry to actually punish some of those dashes forward if they get in a team fight scenario, very quick target selection, because it's not really a laning phase anymore, but it's still a really big team fight matchup.
Absolutely. Then, of course, the other members of the teams that we want to look at, Reignover and Dardoch. Explosive new jungler here in Dardoch, and then Reignover. Picture of consistency, a big help to this team.
Yeah, he's 7 out of 7 for first blood participation for Immortals, and this is basically one of the best Western junglers versus one of the best Western rookie junglers right now in this matchup. And I think that this is going to be explosive because both of them have a rather similar style. Dardoch has purchased the Red Smite 5 out of his 6 games just to be aggressive and try to get a hold on this game. They're number 1 and 2 for actually first blood participation, and Dardoch leads the lead in kill participation. So they like to fight, they like to go in, and this is going to be great.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of conflict in this matchup because Reignover is one to always try and take the opponent's jungler, and Dardoch does the same thing. So unless they're like ships passing the night into each other's jungle, they will fight each other in the river.
And one of the things that Dardoch has been praised by his staff and everybody watching is that his intuition and his instincts about what's going on in the game and where the other jungler is going to be are really good. And he's transitioned his scrim performances pretty much flawlessly to the stage without those nerves we usually see. So him up against Reignover sometimes augments his routes in a very strange way. we don't see most junglers have the type of fluidity he does, and he's able to kind of adjust on the fly. So I want to see how that throws Dardoch off and if he's able to adjust in this matchup.
Team Liquid is your pick for a team that could beat Immortals. Are we seeing it today? I'm putting you on the spot. Are we seeing it today, or are we waiting a few weeks?
I wished happy birthday to Locodoco this morning.
Yeah.
True, it's also
He said
Locodoco's
he was
birthday.
going to beat him. He also said student versus master for the coaching.
That's
match.
true.
But I still
that's
think
true.
Immortals is going to win.
So Jat's going with Immortals. You think Immortals still going to snag this one? We're going to wait a couple weeks for Team Liquid to get there?
Yeah.
All right.
I think
that's
Immortals
fair
still
enough.
have this.
That's fair enough,
I still
but
think
needless
they
to
have
say,
this.
it should be an exciting and explosive game. Before we throw it to our casters, though, let's check in with Liquid's Matt and his excitement to square off against Immortals.
I've been waiting for the Immortals match probably all season because, just from how their bot lane plays, like they basically play to farm. They don't try to take any resources from their team. They just try to go even and let the rest of the map, I guess, carry. But with that sort of play style, there can be advantages for us. Like we want to be playing like a really aggressive bot. We want to be able to win lane and take our advantages from there. So going against like undefeated Immortals is definitely my favorite game to look forward to right now.
Well, there's always that saying of be careful what you wish for, and it's not going to be an easy game for Liquid here against the undefeated Immortals. So everyone, I am Riving to Biz in the third, and joining me for this Clash of Titans is Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler. How's it going, brother?
Oh, I think that's enough jibber jabber from the goons on the desk. Let's jump into the game.
All right, let's check out the starting lineups right now. Everyone's ready. It's going to be Immortals on the blue side. That means it's Huni in the top lane, Rainover in the jungle, Cobelter in mid, Wild Turtle at AD carry, and as always, Adrian on support with Coach Dylan.
They love it when we call them goons, Riv. On the red side is Team Liquid. Up top is Lorlo in the jungle, Dardoch. Mid, Phoenix, AD carry Piglet, support Matt, and Coach Locodoco, the birthday boy, on stage with the team.
So Matt's ready to go. Piglet seemingly ready to go. He's had great games on Caitlyn recently, so they want to go aggressive in the lane. Well, if they can prevent the lane swap, they get the matchup that they want. However, we've been seeing it a lot lately, and it's an easy way for Immortals to start getting ahead early with all the pressure they can create.
Yeah, that's a bold move to look for standard lanes against Immortals, who have had the quickest game times and have been crushing people just in laning phase. We'll see if it can work out here for Team Liquid, though. You know, both of these junglers that they were talking about so much used Nidalee yesterday and crushed with it. So maybe Nidalee will rise in priority. There's so many floating around, though, since Kindred has returned to the pool. There's a lot of aggressive junglers that you can go for. Nidalee has already surfaced and will not take place in this game.
Saw a bit of that Quinn versus Fiora last time from Huni that will be kind of locked out by the Quinn. Fiora still being left up, and the Graves also gets banned out. We've been seeing quite a bit of play from him in the top and the jungle. Quite every region. There's the Fiora actually getting banned out as well. Both Quinn and Fiora coming from the side of Team Liquid.
Yeah. Okay, so top lane, top lane, a lot of top lane focused bans. Also, Elise is up in the jungle, which is fairly rare. These guys may fight over that champion because definitely has a lot of good early game making, playmaking abilities, especially with Nidalee and Graves off of the table. Looks like they will settle on this Lulu, though, for Immortals. Then that just opens up for their entire composition. Can play really whatever you want around Lulu. And really is a great champion for enabling Wild Turtle. Everybody's been talking about, his return to his old style, which is the frontline style. Yesterday, they used 2 healers and a shielded mid laner.
It looks good now.
So today, they've already got shields as well as the Wild Growth ready for him if he does want to be on the front line.
He's been empowered. He's kind of back to his old self and his old play style of not being afraid to go a little bit harder.
Today, the power of the Pixies will be with him. Lulu at his back.
He's going to have some true aim to be hitting Kalista going in the hands of Piglet here. Master tier Kalista player, if there were anyone. Dardoch now on Elise. He gets the champion of his choice, which is also going to be huge for Liquid's early game. Having Dardoch on something aggressive really helps to start the pace for them. And getting pace against Immortals is imperative.
This is 6.2 Rengar that Rainover is hovering over, so I don't know if he'll still go through with it. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Not going to go with the nerfed Rengar. More standard Elise Rek'Sai. We've seen this one before. Matchup in the jungle. Rainover maybe will go a little bit more hard farming routes. We'll see what Dardoch can get done with the Elise in the jungle. Very, very strong. Since all the speed items have had their costs reduced. Current state of the game, you can get the 10% from your Runic Echoes plus a very cheap Boots of Swiftness, and Elise moves around lightning quick, able to get off a lot of ganks. Or you can opt to go with the Cinder Hulk and try and match tankiness.
A really easy way to catch people off guard is being able to close that angle with your cocoon so quickly. We'll for sure see Dardoch getting his hands dirty early in the game. What will it be? The switch from Azir to Corki. Corki was left up throughout this pick ban phase for game 1 in Phoenix. We're going to take that into the mid lane for sure.
Yeah, things starting to shape up here with an old pick as well. Maokai returning to the scene. Impact had one game on it, but it's been a very rare champion so far this season, pretty much across the world. Definitely does provide a good front line here, though. And with Kalista already on the team, it looks like there's going to be a very balanced team fighting comp here from Team Liquid. Corki, I'm assuming, is going mid lane, not top or anything crazy like that. And Maokai is going to take that top spot, so they'll just save their support, and the Bard is being moused over there as it's been Matt's by far his most successful champion.
But not having Adrian on his Janna or his Soraka, it's just so good. It's so much protection, so much control over the team fights. It's like he plays an extra mini game and just keeps everybody alive throughout them. We've seen the shutouts happen already, and we've seen the very quick games from Immortals from the protection he provides, and it will be the Janna lock-in. We also get an Echo coming in this game, however. I feel like that could be Huni's.
Yeah, definitely. Well, technically you could take the Lulu up to top lane for Huni,
sure,
but that's definitely not a Huni champion. Probably going to be that Echo, as you said, for the top lane to try and punish this Maokai. If they do look for standard lanes, it looks like really both teams setting up with a lot of team fight utility here. Immortals have the Janna plus the Lulu for Wild Turtles Caitlyn. And they just want to get to that point where they can siege up, and then they have so many shields. It'll be hard to get to that back line.
That Bard's still up. It played a huge role for Liquid yesterday when Matt had that for Baron plays, for stopping, starting, and really just engaging.
Yeah,
overall.
As good as his Bard is, though, if you are given the Kalista-Alistar combo on a silver platter, most teams have taken it, and most teams have found success with it. So that's a very nice way to round out the comp here for Team Liquid. We're talking about a lot of team fighting focus here. They're bringing a lot of crowd control to the mix. So, you know, with Maokai and Alistar assisted by Kalista, they may just be able to get to that back line of Wild Turtle, even with the Lulu and Janna. I think this will be a very interesting mid-game. I actually think that it might be a bit slower of an early game, unless Dardoch on this Elise is able to create something for himself. Just looking at the lanes, though, they look like they're difficult to gank, save for the top lane.
Right, if they can get something onto Huni, take him down. I mean, who do you even focus on this team? Like, what's the good way to go against the Immortals?
Yeah, I mean, Huni has, focusing on that top lane has been a strategy that has been, you know, semi-successful against them in the past. And if there's one thing about Maokai in the lane phase, he is good at setting up ganks, because usually, especially versus melee champ, you'll be in range for the Twisted Advance to try and set that up.
Maybe they can get a check on that tilt factor for Huni. We'll see. Don't forget to let us know who you think is going to take the cake. It's not a lie. Tweet at LOL Esports with the hashtag IMTWin or the hashtag TLWin to let us know who is having dessert for this first game here. We'll check back with your responses in just a few. We're about to get on the Rift. Does Immortal keep this consistent, fast-paced game on lockdown? Or does Liquid take their streak away from them and give them their first loss? Immortals versus Liquid. We are on the Rift, and we're about to find out. The cheers, the chants, all around as the players make their way to the line of scrimmage, most likely to start this one off.
Yeah.
Potion of Corruption for Phoenix to start, and otherwise pretty orthodox.
Yeah, the standard defensive fan out here. We have seen teams do late blind swaps still after setting up with this defensive opening and laying down their wards, but I'm actually really looking forward to standard lanes. I hope that they stay in standard lanes so that we can see Matt and Piglet down bottom try and take over Wild Turtle and Adrian. They talked about it in that video opening. They want to try and gain their advantage on that bottom side because Rainover has been focusing topside so often. And it looks like they will stay in standard lanes, even with that deep ward here from Immortals. We'll see the Gromp start. But that shouldn't change any of the gameplay for either side. Both junglers starting topside as well, so they will end their routes on bottom, and we may actually see more action down bottom than we're expecting.
Get a big rumble down there once they get to it. Even with 3 bans towards the top side, maybe, I can't remember if one was too big of a flex or not. I know the Gangplank was up there, and Fiora, everything pretty much targeted at Huni. He still tries to get a carry champion to make this game stronger for Immortals from the top lane.
Yep, and down bottom here, the Wild Turtle Adrian combo of Janna Caitlyn is very difficult just if you keep it as a 2 versus 2, because you know, Janna's shield and Caitlin's got the extra range to work with. Oh, I think he missed one. Nope, he got all 3. Oh, no, actually, that was the Krug. He did miss one.
All right, level 2, how about Pulverize? That's what you're talking about, Kobe. That miss of XP, not having the right amount of CS. The heal is down. That's going to be marked by Team Liquid.
We didn't have to wait long, Riv. Team Liquid.
That's what they were waiting for. He called it out.
Push down those minions. They get the early level 2. Matt immediately going in for the combo. And they get 3 summoners for 1 on the bottom side. Remember, the junglers are still ending their routes down bottom. Immortals are pushed under turret, so probably no gank this early, but maybe Rainover tries to relieve some pressure. Ooh, he has snuck over the back of the dragon for a sneaky gank path, but stops off for the 800 HP crab.
Easy takings there. Actually, just on the other side of the wall, small game of cat and mouse.
Too slow.
Dardoch and Rainover, and you're all right. Too slow to get the engage.
Also walked too close to the Scuttle Crab and was seen, even if that ward wouldn't see him. He was just coming down to ward for his bottom lane.
It's a nice guy. Nice Dardoch.
Yeah, that's the thing about, you know, Kalista Alistar. It is scary because of the all-in. However, you know, if there's perfect vision coverage, Caitlyn Janna can just whittle you down from range here. Let me check if Matt has gotten heal level 3. Yes, sir. So they actually should be just fine down there, too.
So we saw a bit of fight between Huni, Lorlo in the top lane. Not much is going to come from that. So we see some teleport plays. I'm sure Huni will be trying to push that lane in quite a bit. Rainover finds himself now on Team Liquid's jungle. See how much damage he can do here to Dardoch.
Ooh, look at this, though. Elise is hovering on the bottom side. And Matt does have flash, remember, for Alistar. Turtle, no summoners, with an Alistar with combo and flash ready.
Hard to engage. It's a great position in the lane, though, for him.
Man, all because of the level 2. The experience all in, advantage all in there. Pretty big advantage for Team Liquid bottom lane. And as Matt was talking about in the video, they've been able to earn their own advantage down there. 2 versus 2, 10 CS lead. They've got the wave in a nice spot at their turret as well.
Well, if you're waiting a whole season, or for how long the season has been to get this lane matchup, you better make sure it goes in your favor quickly. We saw both bot lanes going for Gromp and Krug immediately in the beginning to get that early lead. We'll see how Adrian and Turtle can repair it. Obviously, a safe lane from now on. They're taking Krugs over and over again, already being a wave and just about a half behind. Parallel Convergence goes in, locks him up inside it. And that's going to pretty much lock down Huni for too much damage.
Yeah, draws a lot of ooze, but not a lot of damage there. Didn't even get the 3rd hit for the passive.
Good way to play around it.
It is a Maokai. Nice use of Twisted Advance there as well. And Lorlo just walks to safety. He actually plays it really safe and goes for a full recall to purchase. Double wind speakers here for both supports. 80 carries, really favoring Fervor now. Yeah, almost all 80 carries. It's actually settled into a pretty common masteries, keystone masteries for all roles, as jungle are pretty much all strength of ages now as well.
Got a little bit more time to fight, a little more time to stack up. Do more damage. Hello, Rainover.
A little bit of damage here.
Looks like his pathing on the bottom is done anyways. He should be back after this. Man.
Got one in the minion there for the reset as well.
Very nicely done.
Not going to do too much, though, as he was heading back to base anyway. And also, the mid lane is actually drawn back to fairly even in CS after that recall from Phoenix. So those two trading fairly well.
Interesting to look at the early game against Immortals. Is it kind of like if you go even against Immortals in the early game, are they still winning at this point because of the strength they have during team fights and the control of the map once the lanes break? It might be hurt here by Dardoch. Oh. Just kidding.
I mean,
Just kidding.
you can see it in the play, though. Turtle and Adrian are playing so safe after they got all in and had to blow all those summoners.
Yep.
They altered their gameplay. This is exactly what you have to do, you know, depending on the matchups, depending on the early stages of the game. They didn't have these summoners to work with, so they played very safe from then on. Yes, it did also cost them CS, but they haven't given up a kill. And Dardoch has been bottom hovering at least twice so far, which has allowed Reignover on this Rek'Sai to gain a farm advantage for himself, and right now a single level advantage for himself.
See if they get another one. Adrian tries to stand right on Turtle there to kind of take the attacks away. But that's what you're talking about, the disengage and kind of the poke back. Piglet definitely loses out on that trade overall.
Ooh, Reignover sees him.
Just chilling. He waits for a second. Dardoch gets the smite out. Is he actually going to give it over in the end? He will decide to walk out of this one. Pole Belcher's coming down. The flash is in. He's going to go ahead and repel the picks. A lot of pressure in there from Immortals to get red, but Dardoch still is able to get away with it, so not hurt too bad in that situation.
Yeah. So Dardoch was able to remain calm and smite the red, not only for the health back, but also to get it. Just because, you know, Reignover didn't have his smite up.
What a
Dardoch
pest.
didn't quite know that, but he was still able to grab it. So, you know, Reignover's trying to push his advantage, but so far he's been unsuccessful in stealing too much away. Does get one small baby golem there.
Cash money. All right, a little back and forth. Reignover was actually really testing the waters there on Liquid, and it seems like Dardoch reacted quite easily, or quite well with Phoenix.
Yeah.
Blue buff will be safe for him overall. That will help Phoenix in the mid lane here. That's 73 to 71, so Pole Belcher and Phoenix are pretty much going.
Yep. Most of the gold lead here for Immortals is in the jungle for Reignover over Dardoch.
41 to 26.
With a little bit of it also being Huni in the top lane. But Team Liquid still trying to play around the bottom lane. Piglet and Matt have done well for themselves.
Something I can see wrong going for this bot lane is that Piglet and Matt aren't getting that kill that they want, so you might go a little bit harder and keep trying for it. Dardoch's here in the bot lane now. Here's going for that kill. Reignover's the first hit. A nice Monsoon to disengage, and a Howling Gale hits two. Dardoch was up, and he repelled. Nobody could follow just yet. Lorlo, with a very late TP, is in the wrong spot at the wrong time and forced the flash. And Immortals just dance around the engage.
Yep, both top laners TP down. Lorlo on the wrong side of the turret, though, from the rest of the team, does use his flash to get out. And we've got all 5 members down bottom for each team.
It's a party. And nobody had any gifts. Nobody. So Dragon's still up. It doesn't even look like anybody can get that after. There was still damage done. So it's just backs and to the lanes in mid to farm.
Phoenix had a gift, just nobody wanted it. He had the package, and nobody wanted to take it.
We waited all that time.
All said and done, though, that just means that top lane now is actually a target that you can go for. You know, Lorlo does not have flash. Phoenix, I don't think he got that. Maybe he did. Viv?
What, Kobe?
I wasn't paying attention. I'm going to rewind.
I was looking at Lorlo's flash because you mentioned it. You said it was down, Kobe! You're a prophet! Oh, they're going for Lorlo because the flash is down!
No,
One more. There's the
juggler.
3-tap. Reignover and Huni gonna lock it down. They're giving it to Huni. Takes the Echo top to try and carry, and he's off to a good start.
Yeah, jungler sees flash down for a long laner. And it's a Maokai who does not have any escapes, so
like
good targeting there by Reignover. He goes to get Huni ahead, and they do get their first blood. Reignover keeps his streak alive. 8 out of 8 games in North America. First blood for the team.
Jeez. Say it gets him going too, and Cooney is confident. He can make some bad plays, but most of the time they're actually huge impact plays that get him 2 or 3 kills, and the team's able to push quite a bit. Still adding pressure to the top side. It's gonna have to be respected here by Lorlo.
Yeah.
Pobelter gets blue to go back towards the mid lane. Pressure relieved for a second here. We'll see Lorlo come back to lane. I don't know if anything's gonna happen until we see the dragon fight. It's just pretty much Hooney going hard when he can.
Yeah, Hooney now also got an extra wave doing that as well, so pretty decent advantage over Lorlo. Lorlo on the Maokai though is going to try and be that team fight top laner, just bring his CC and damage reduction to the next team fight. They do break out once teleports come back up.
All right. Engage mid. That Thunderlord's proccing out. Pobelter makes sure he walks in a little bit to get the knockup. That means the aggression's going to happen down on the bot side. Turtle gets pushed too close, and Liquid's been looking for the kill the entire game. They finally get it as Immortals pushed up a little too far.
I'm actually curious as to the setup there because Turtle and Adrian had been playing so safe for so long, giving up CS and not exposing themselves to that all-in.
That was a full combo from Matt, flash and all.
Yeah, but Matt able to get the flash there, and Turtle locked up, not able to flash away. Uh-oh, repeat gank top for Reignover though, and the turret's already dead.
Bad timing for Lorlo to be there. Not looking at the big picture in this situation. We just saw Lorlo go down. Is this another kill for Hooney? If Reignover leaves this one up, it will be. And the rest of the map is being pushed in the mid lane right now by Immortals. This is not going to be good. Dardoch does pick up Dragon during this top fight, but they're gaining some ground on Immortals' side.
Not too big of a surprise, actually. You know, Immortals again focusing top lane, and Team Liquid, you know, after seeing that video, the bottom lane focus is actually paying off for them. CS lead, plus turret, plus kill from the bottom lane, and Piglet is going to set up on this Kalista have a very strong mid game. So it's going to be, you know, the AD carry ahead, jumping out to a very quick first item versus the Echo on top side. An assassin for Hooney can get to the back line and try and take out either the Corki or the Kalista. It's going to be very hard considering Immortals lineup. I mean, well, considering both lineups, because Immortals are more about protecting Wild Turtle with the double shields than they are about enabling Hooney to get to the back line.
Yep.
We'll see how he runs this Echo. Maybe more of a mid-line Echo. Reignover invading again, though.
Yeah, talking about Hooney, having Hooney pushed up that far has allowed Reignover to just destroy the topside jungle. Red Raptors almost made a gank mid. He is 2 steps ahead of the game right now, and just having that top turret down added so much pressure for them. Team Liquid's definitely going to have to answer reactively now. I don't think they have a choice to put anything in the lead unless Matt gets that flashback up. Still looking good on both sides. Not too big of a lead for Immortals. Keep watching Reignover. He's definitely putting a lot of pressure down.
Yeah.
Spending more time in Liquid's jungle in his own.
Top side versus bottom side. Really the biggest difference, I think, comes in the vision game. Immortals have been able to play some on Team Liquid's side of the camp, side of the jungle here across the river, whereas Team Liquid are trying to huddle up and just play defensively, especially on that top side there for Lorlo. Lorlo's been taking a beating during his flashless state.
Yeah, they played on that twice. Usually you only see 1 gank, or not even any. They just know that his flash is down and maybe Hooney will make a play off of it, but for sure try to get him.
Just by taking out that river ward here for Team Liquid, they force Hooney to go back because it is such a long lane. Now they are at least denying some CS from him.
Oh. Doesn't hit the time winder or get the slow that he wants, so Immortals just playing a bit of a pressure game. They may flood towards middle here. And this mid turret's quite low. Be going down.
Yeah, they're
real
collapsing
fast.
on mid very quickly. Caitlyn's not there though.
Yeah.
So like the main part of their siege isn't really here. So even though they do have Jenna, Lulu, they're ready. No Caitlyn means I don't think they're actually going for the mid turret right now, as they send Wild Turtle up to the top side to try and clean CS. Looks like both teams just trying to farm till their mid-game power spike. They're both fairly confident in their team fights.
Looked like they had the movement with Piglet topside, but Wild Turtle had already backed. Not too much CS discrepancy throughout the lanes. It really leaves this next fight up to anyone, but this is where Immortals starts to get that edge. Everybody on Team Liquid, or just a few, will start to take damage, hits. You see Huni take down Lorlo or Rainover, and then it's a lot harder for that tank to do what he needs to in the fight.
Yeah,
Rainover has to back all the
is
time.
Already bullying the top laner. Jungler, same level as the top laner. And if he finds Lorlo, gets a great trade off in the jungle. Gonna force him back. And Immortals claim another turret with Huni splitting down bottom. Let's see if Team Liquid can actually create a play on top. There is teleport available for Huni, so Team Liquid, while they kind of want to make him blow teleport, have to be very careful.
Matt is very far in.
There's the teleports.
Good whimsy coming from Pole Belter. TP of Lorlo is in, but Huni is a little farther behind, ready to pincer with the team. He Chrono breaks back, but he has got 4 members on him. Flashes over the wall, but he pulls a lot of resources from Liquid, and this is where Immortals is going to re-engage. A nice hit by Rainover. Monsoon, Matt back. He's got the Unbreakable Will on. It's actually very hard for both teams to get any targets in this fight. They're only finding tanks, and it is going to be Rainover going down first. Dardoch falls next. The junglers are out. Here it comes onto Matt. One more shot. That's going to be Huni going in with the phase dive. Now under Lorlo, a double kill for Wild Turtle as he gets rolling. Piglet and Turtle in the standoff for the duel. The Frost Bomb comes over, breaks up the fight, and Pole Belter out of left field coming up through the turret. It looks like Immortals have won the ground, and to make peace, it's gonna be Wild Turtle taking down Corky Piglet. Or rather, Phoenix falls. Too much happening.
Phoenix just walking back and forth there in the mid-range, and Turtle extends the olive branch. But man, so the beginning of this fight is actually really uncoordinated. This is the first, I was thinking this is the first uncoordinated team fight that we've seen from Immortals, because it's an engage there from Huni. They end up blowing the Lulu ultimate really early, but then Rainover gets a massive knock-up onto the back line, and Phoenix is basically taken out of this fight. Adrian actually shoves the back line and separates this team into 2 squads so that Immortals can then whittle down the front line. And even though Team Liquid get that first kill, Turtle is buffed up by Lulu and Janna, goes on the chase, Flash nets in to try and take out Phoenix, even though Phoenix had a good Valkyrie right there. This is the 1 versus 1. Phoenix tries to add the Frost Bomb, and Piglet actually flashes out at the same time, but Pole Belter, as you know, cleans up the one-on-one. And then this right here, Frost Queen claims slow.
Over the shoulder.
But he's just should have kept, I don't know what he could have gotten back there, but man, Immortals do end up cleaning it up.
That went all the way from blue buff to their 2nd tier mid.
Yeah, I mean,
such a long fight. And that's why we see the AD carries taking that further. Exactly that reason. If the fights last forever. This one, however, may have a bit shorter of a time, but not if Adrian has something to say about it. They go right back into it after coming up from being dead. Shots are onto Dardoch. They want it onto Matt. They repel out. They are finally going to be able to take down Pole Belter in this. He gets pushed off the turret, and Team Liquid is just trying to put a stranglehold down until it works. Well, pressure on the bot now by Huni.
Yeah, Huni's been pushing this entire time, and he got a tower during that. It's an outer turret traded for a secondary turret and a little bit of inhibitor turret damage, but even with Team Liquid taking that many turret shots, it's still going to be in their favor. They should be able to get 2 off of this, as Huni might come out with a blue steal or something on the exit, but that's about it. So good play there from Team Liquid to come out with the advantage right after that team fight loss. It looks like Immortals were in that position because they just took Rift Herald, and Rainover is currently wearing the buff. But man, that happened really quickly after the replay. Whew.
Straight back into it.
All right, blue buff and dragon.
Dragon number 1 for them. They're going to short any kind of fast Dragon 5, so Liquid looking for something else. Dragon will just be a place to fight now. 4 items coming out. Righteous Glory. Haven't actually seen it in quite a while. Lorlo goes for that first to continue getting Team Liquid into these fights, helping Matt get to where he needs to be.
He is all about the team fight and trying to force it. The only problem is that when you're trying to force a team fight like that against another team that has a decent team fight setup, who's already ahead.
And Monsoon.
Immortals are pretty far ahead in gold. Unless Team Liquid can clean up some turrets, Immortals just need to hold on right now, and then they'll have the Janna, Lulu, late game Caitlyn, which will be very difficult to engage on. So far, Lorlo and Matt have done a pretty good job of getting to that back line. But, you know, as we saw in that last team fight at mid, Turtle was left standing at the end of it. Was able to clean up the ace for Immortals.
Interested to see how much of the fact that Liquid can make plays from being 5-6K down still holds true from previous seasons, because they are a team that knows how to make plays still from really not having a good engage or having the goal to engage. They are definitely items behind right now, and it's only going to make it more difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Dardoch, Matt, and Lorlo can find a way with this composition, keeping Phoenix to pick it safe.
Yeah. The extra money as well as the control over the map that your outer mid lane turret provides is actually pretty big too. Immortals holding on to their mid lane outer turret is quite big. Reignover actually going for the engage with Hooney's flank.
Hooney just walks on over, no TP needed, so if they win this fight, they have pressure all over the map. Matt doing what he can to help.
Yeah.
The Fate's Call is already used, so he's forced to flash over the Raptor wall. There's no quick follow, but Immortals wants to push with a full team. Power in numbers as they continue to stick to Team Liquid's heels. It looks like they make it to the base, but this is going to be minion waves crawling now up to the inhibitors. Reignover very hard over the wall. Adrian looking for saves and heals in the right position. If he has to go harder, he might just do it. An ace in the hole from Wild Turtle as they continue to whittle down Team Liquid from across the map to their base.
That's the thing, this massive team fight with the double supports. Hooney even getting a lot of shielding himself on the front lines. Does get cocooned, but he should be able to get out just fine. Or not!
Oh my gosh!
All right.
Turtle's almost getting kills with no mana over
Knew
here.
it all
while
along.
This is
Get out
happening.
just fine. Adrian's able to protect him, and the Immortals back off there.
They just have so much confidence in their play. It keeps Team Liquid from committing to situations even like that. When you have a guy against the wall, you don't want to go too close because you don't want Caitlyn to crush you over the wall with a headshot.
Yeah.
Everything that Immortals is doing is just putting so much pressure.
we saw the frustration there.
Yeah.
At the beginning of that team fight, you know, Team Liquid, Lorlo and Matt trying to get to the back line here. So they actually engage on Lorlo, just start cracking right through the front line. Dardoch's basically taken out of the fight at the beginning.
Missed.
The Kalista ultimate doesn't hit anyone, so Matt can't get back to the back line. Turtle's free firing, even though it's on an ulted Alistar. This damage they're able to chip away at Team Liquid as they try and retreat. Just continuing to chip and chip away, and Hooney finally able to pick up the kill there as Reignover flashes in after the death, but has the Lulu ult to back him up.
Who else would be in the base? Hooney and Reignover. Go figure. Going crazy together, making plays.
But you know, it's one of the things that we come back to with Immortals. They trust each other so much.
Yep.
They keep on having multiple members on sort of support champions. You know, whether it's multiple heal champions or multiple shield champions. Pobelter's happy to let Hooney and Turtle carry the game and carry the majority of the DPS here. Lulu plus Janna provides so much support for either carry.
Yeah, and those are plug and play for Pobelter. That's where he's been, providing a lot of utility for the mid lane.
Yeah.
And also holding very consistent throughout the mid lane play, so he's not a problem area. Come late game.
Whatever the team needs.
Yeah.
Reignover, happy to play the tank as well. Rek'Sai, definitely a favorite of his.
We do see that Hooney likes his carries, though. Going back to the 3 bans against him, still picks Echo. And that also calls the question, what do you do against this team? Focus Hooney, you try to play to his lane. It doesn't work. You try to put him up against a tank that can kind of live with low econ. Doesn't work. It becomes very hard to figure out how to beat these guys.
Yeah.
Pick bans.
And
then the game's going to be harder.
Yeah, and it's also really smart because, yes, they have Wild Turtle, and they also have this giant AP threat from the top lane. So you know Turtle's going to be hard to take down and deal a lot of damage in the late game because you've got the Janna shielding him with extra AD. So they pick an AP assassin for Hooney. And he's able to provide that AP threat, though he does get stunned. And he's back to where he teleported from. It was too quick.
Hooney, he's running all the way from Wolves now. If you don't see it on the mini-map, He went all the way back from his TP zone. It did save him. He's still got a hell of a lot of health, but it does not help the engage. But also, that's how quick that call was made.
Yeah, it's 4 seconds. So
engage.
it's wherever you were 4 seconds ago. If you teleported from across the map, then you're going right back across the map.
Oh,
It's
pretty
it's
fun.
fine because Immortals are able to communicate and retreat.
Yeah,
they don't
very
commit to the
fast.
fight 4-on-5. Now the Baron starts up.
all right. Lorlo's in. There's no real
There's no
connection here.
damage.
Lorlo and Matt are the only ones there. That's their engage pushed out. Lorlo is at a sliver of health. I'll be surprised if he lives. Goes down quickly as Rainover goes in for the plague. I think he got a Prey Seeker on it. And now they just start pushing down the tanks. The things that Team Liquid needs continue to go down too fast for the backline to get the damage they want. Immortals once again choose through the Liquid lineup.
Yeah, the start of that fight, Phoenix and Dardoch were literally halfway across the map. And now it should be an easy Baron here for Immortals.
No 50-50. Dardoch is forced to go back. There would just be too much grabbed if they didn't have bodies on the map for Team Liquid here. So the empowered back now for Immortals. 1 of 2 dragons, 1 of 1 barons. We'll see this fight again.
Yeah, look at this. This 2 tanks and Kalista, but Kalista can't even get into DPS while the tanks are tanking damage. So it's a 3 versus 5 where one of your members only got a single auto attack off, and by the time the rest of the backline arrives, the front is dead, and Immortals just chase it down.
It's ridiculous how much Adrian's Jana provides for this team to reset a fight and get everything they want out of it instantly. We don't like this engage, reset, now we'll take it.
It's funny too because there's been such a heavy trend worldwide for melee supports and engage and playmaking supports, whereas Adrian has stuck a hard line to these range supports with Janna and Soraka only.
But he's also got that Leona we know of from long ago, so the guy's got a champion pool Immortals can really work with, and it looks like Immortals may look to go 8-0 as they pull the trigger around 20 minutes, have had the lead and continue to snowball, taking their time here. Immortals know where to push the limits and know when to pull back. They now have another minion wave. They continue to go forward, and Liquid doing everything they can, Kobe, but at 28 minutes, I don't think it's going to be enough. Looking for a few more kills for the fantasy points. The Nexus at half HP and looking to drop a bit more gold in their pockets. 28-15, Immortals takes down Liquid. Consistently quick games by these guys.
Yeah, we thought this might be one of the games to actually give them trouble, but Immortals continue their march to another undefeated season. One more game and they'll be halfway there.
Yeah.
8-0 for them already. And once again, yeah, they're very calm, well set up battle lines for a team fight comp.
Keep looking at Adrian's Jana. Every time they go in the fight, what Team Liquid wanted was the Unbreakable Will Maokai ultimate hit, right? Alistar Unbreakable Will and Maokai, I should say.
It's the...
But you just monsoon that out, Alistar's ult wears off, and we saw him go down every time.
Turtle never even felt pressured in this game with the double supports.
That's what he needs. I want to know what it's like to be Wild Turtle on that team. It's gotta feel good.
Huni also, it was good that Huni could manipulate time in this game because the teleports in sometimes got really, really close to him dropping. Being a little bit ahead of the team, but he got out every single time, whether it was through Lulu ult or using his own ult to backtrack, and only died twice in the entire game.
Oh, the bot lane. Liquid got their matchup. They got the early pressure, the early the early kills. They got what they set out to do.
Yeah.
And it seems like once Immortals can start to control the map, they're out of laning phase, that's when they just get unlocked. The laning phase can still go well for them, but once they break it, they just run around and control it a few steps ahead.
It just seems like Immortals have such a clear game plan, and they play to their comp every single time. They were very happy to just farm up in the bottom line. Turtle and Adrian gave up a lot of CS early to play safe and not give up deaths. If they could avoid it, then they only end up giving them one in lane phase. And once they were able to come together with the double supports, just group up, and they won their first team fight. From there, it was really a steamroll.
Saw that Rain over Huni love for those two in the top lane. He kept going back for Lorlo. It's just over and over again. We see King Immortals do the same thing, and it works. They keep getting victories. Undefeated now. And for some added insight on that game, let's check in with Freak, who's standing by with Immortals Jungler.
Thank you very much, Riv. I am here with Rainover. Rainover, congratulations, 8-0. You guys ready to add a 1 to the front, make that 18-0?
If we win the next game against Dignitas, we're basically playing against every team, and then it means we're winning against every team, like even though it's one match, and then if you just repeat, we can go 18-0.
That's really cool. So talk to me about what's made your team so good then. We'll start with your team as a whole and your teammates. What has been the key that's made just your team so strong overall?
I think our team is like having some strong point because like everyone of the player is not really greedy, and then they are willing to sacrifice for the team, and then everyone is team player, and then everyone is not KDA player. So I think that's why like everyone is full hamming when they have to full ham, and then everyone is peeling back when you have to full peeling back. So I think this kind of things are like maybe unique from the other team.
Who makes those decisions when you go in really hard? We've seen some team fights where you're flashing forward for the knockups and just expecting your team to be there. Who makes that call that it's time to go in?
Normally, Asian doesn't release. We're not really prioritizing like engage support or tank support. So basically, I'm the only tank on the team since Huni is playing a lot of damage champions. So usually, I'm the one who try to engage and then initiate. So about like opening fights, I think I'm the one who's like trying to be like more loud voice, you know. Yeah.
Sure. So then if you're the key voice on the engages and you're the key tank on the team, talk to me about how you're approaching these games in particular. We saw in this game you invading the jungle, you got a lot of ganks off for Huni in the top lane. Talk to me about your decision making coming into these games. What are you trying to do for the team?
This game, we make few mistakes around bot at early level, which was not expected. So I had to help bot, but this game I just thought that it's pretty important to help out Huni because we're playing damage top against tank top. So if we like snowball like one time, then it's gonna be like really huge snowball like this game. So I just told like even though our bot was asking for help, I just choose to not just help bot and then just like make their jungler not be able to come top by stealing his topside jungle, and then they're taking vision around Huni and then ganking top. So I think it's just like I just follow my plan, even though it's not good, optimal for our bot. But our bot is, as I said, like they're like willing to sacrifice. So even though they need help and even though they're behind, they just say, okay, we're just gonna lose lane and then just go make Huni a carry. So I think that's what we did.
Well, that's really smart, Rainover. Well played on that one, making the top lane plan work out. Thank you so much for the interview. Congrats on 8-0. We'll see what happens on Saturday. And for now, we're going to send it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you, Freak. That top lane matchup that Rainover had pinpointed there is what I kind of want to start with our discussion here, because I find it very odd that we saw the Maokai picked blind, essentially blind. You see the Lulu flex, but Maokai blind picked, allowing Huni to pick whatever he wants into it. He was very happy to pick up that Echo.
I hated that. I don't know why you would pick the Maokai before Alistar and then last pick your support. You know Adrian's champion pool is pretty much Janna, Soraka, Alistar. You could pick the Alistar there and you're comfortable with playing that into Janna and Soraka both, and then counter pick top. You don't want to give Huni a counter pick in that top lane. If you have red side, use it to counter pick Huni. Like that's pretty much my biggest advice for playing against Immortals, because he's so flexible. His champion pool, he plays things other people aren't playing just to win the lane.
Right, and then curiously, we see the Maokai picked. It's got a lot of gank assistance, and yet Dardoch essentially sacrificed his entire top side of the map, his jungle included, to make all of his efforts in the bot lane, none of which really came to anything.
I also don't know how much choice Dardoch had in the matter.
That's true.
Because Rainover's always one step ahead of him. He was chasing him through the jungle again and again. Listening to that interview from Rainover is really interesting because I love watching efficient junglers talk because they always have a very logical progression of things, and that needs to happen in order to stay ahead of someone in the jungler. Because Rainover never has hesitation. Once he got the first cycle of the top side of Dardoch's jungle, he was always there on the respawn of the camps.
Yeah.
So unless Dardoch is there with an extra person, he's going to continue to lose those camps. And once Rainover got hold, he never let go.
And it was also a winning matchup in top lane for Huni. So even if you go in a 2-on-2 skirmish, there is a little bit of an advantage for Huni in the top lane already. But also that bot lane, I want to talk about that because Matt had opportunities to make plays. They got level 2 first. They got 3 summoner spells out of the bottom lane of Immortals in trade for Ignite. And then Dardoch came bottom. There was an opportunity to flash, and Matt didn't take it. And Dardoch thought he was going to, and that could have been the start of a snowball for the bottom lane. But then that ended up costing Dardoch more and more and more from the top side of his jungle.
You can see it on their faces, too. There was that moment of, you know, that was a mistake that they've made, and already they're starting to get into their heads a little bit. And then as you mentioned, Jat, meantime, on the opposite side of the map.
Farming.
Reignover starting that thing, and to your point, 4 times within the first 13 minutes did Reignover clear that red side jungle without Dardoch getting a single camp. So the experience advantage, along with the CS advantage that he's creating there, was just astronomical.
And that was the biggest difference, because eventually the bottom lane actually did get a kill, even though Dardoch didn't pick up an assist on it. But by that point, since Elise visited bottom 4 times, Reignover visited top 4 times, but there was a 50 CS difference because Dardoch never had enough pressure to move into Reignover's jungle because of better ward coverage and just better map presence overall, utilizing that Rek'Sai ultimate time and time again to get top lane because they could never even clear the tunnels.
Yeah. I didn't understand that. The tunnels are sitting there, and there's also that part where Phoenix saw where Reignover was in the jungle, and then Reignover just walks straight top and ganks Lorlo, and they couldn't do anything about it. And then the next time he comes in, they just go for a tower dive. So the way that they're playing the top side of the map on Immortals just seemed like Liquid was thrown for a loop, and they didn't even seem to be on the same page at all. Where the ganks were going, who they were allocating resources to, and even communicating.
Right, but both teams, though, they did put focus into some part of the map, right? Team Liquid did get ahead in the bot lane. They were playing very well in the 2v2, and Dardoch did sit there for quite a bit of time applying pressure. Then we arrived at about 17 minutes into the game, the really big explosive team fight, long team fight too. 17 minutes in, we'll pull that up onto your screen, starts in the river around the Baron Pit, ends up being a 5-for-2 in favor of Immortals. But let's try and make sense of this one.
Yeah, both teams were willing to throw down this game. That's why we saw standard lanes. That's why we saw this crazy team fight. But it started a little bit sloppy, as Kobe said during the cast, with Huni having a poor teleport in. But Immortals knew they already had a lead, and Reignover knew he was going to make a play. It was nice peeling by Matt, and Adrian did an even better job kind of like counter-peeling Matt so they could finish him off. And then this is where the fight turns. It's very hard to run away from Lulu, and Wild Turtle knew he was at full health. And I think at this point, he's just showing off with how many times he can flash and use abilities forward and still not die. And at the very end of this fight, I would say some decent-sized misplays by Team Liquid. Piglet can't take him because Adrian wasn't dead. That was super key. And Phoenix needed to just get out of there where he gets tagged by the last
but it's very close. I mean, it shows you how close this game was up to this point, that's the remaining health on the side of Immortals here. But what you have to remember as well, there was about a 2K-ish gold lead in favor of Immortals from those early game moves that we had talked about from Reignover that probably gave them the item edge, you know, stats advantage they needed to win that fight.
Yeah, but some of the solo laners were actually ahead. I think Phoenix had a CS advantage for a large portion of the game, and the bottom lane as well. Piglet was ahead, but they played that fight when they were kiting backwards, and Matt decides to peel instead of jump into Huni. They aren't able to kill Huni during the CC chain, and then that creates this chain of events where they used so much on one guy who got away that they have to kite backwards. And then that last moment where I'm sitting there going, well, why isn't Phoenix helping Piglet out? Well, he doesn't want to go into choke point against a Caitlyn, right? So there's a lot of things that are going back and forth in that fight that you could probably watch it 3 times and just see something new every time.
I think specifically playing against Immortals, you more clearly see teams' indecisiveness because it doesn't exist on Immortals. So as soon as it happens, it's totally out of place. And Immortals always decisive, always fast.
I was about to say, and plenty of decisiveness on the side of Immortals. Reignover kind of leading the charge in this game, taking advantage of Dardoch in the jungle. Coming up next, 2 mid lane stars face off as Jensen and the rest of Cloud9 battle GBM and Energy Esports. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You guys not have a time traveler?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, dude.
This is why we're 8-0 so far.
We're not 8-0, we're 7-0.
7-0.
Holy, I'm good.
Now under Lorlo, a double kill for Wild Turtle as he gets rolling. Piglet and Turtle in the standoff for the duel. The Frost Bomb comes over, breaks up the fight, and Pole Belter out of left field coming up through the turret.
Speed 4.
Wow.
They now have another minion wave. They continue to go forward, and Liquid doing everything they can, Kobe. But at 28 minutes, I don't think it's going to be enough. 28-15, Immortals takes down Liquid.